Three former generals have written an article in the Washington Post that is very disturbing in what it seems to suggest about where the military is headed. Now, the generals themselves claim to be disturbed, and they're disturbed as they look forward to the 2024 election. Let me summarize a few of the things that they say. They say that if there is a disputed election in 2024, and if the Trumpian candidate, whether it's Trump or someone like Trump, loses, they say this would divide the country, and they say would obviously also divide the military. And they say, quote, in this context, with our military hobbled and divided, U.S. security would be crippled. Any one of our enemies could take advantage by launching an all-out attack. And so the generals say that the lesson of 2020 and of the violent insurrection, they're on board with all the leftist rhetoric here. And I also, by the way, point out that when they're talking about the 2024 election, they're assuming that the Trumpian candidate loses. They don't consider the opposite possibility, which is that Trump or a Trumpian candidate wins, and then the left refuses to accept the result. To them, that's not really something worth discussing. So there's a one-sidedness baked into this analysis. But nevertheless, what they're saying is that we've learned from 2020 that what we need to do is, they say, make preparations for what could come in 2024. And now let's see what are these preparations that they think should be made. They say, quote, the Defense Department should war game the next potential post-election insurrection or coup attempt. It must then conduct a top-down debriefing of its findings and begin putting in place safeguards to prevent breakdowns, not just in the military, but in any agency that works hand in hand with the military. Now, what worries me about this is that this appears to be, if you think about it, essentially a recipe for a military coup. These are people who, in the name of protecting democracy, and this is kind of the left's game. The left is always saying democracy is under attack. Well, how's democracy under attack? Isn't it under attack from the kind of people who don't accept majority verdicts, as recently with the Build Back Better? Oh, we only Manchin won't respect the will of 48 other Democrats. What about the 50 Republicans that are allied with Manchin on this? Or who are the people who want to pack the courts? Who are the people suppressing civil liberties? Who are the people who want to get rid of the filibuster? So if constitutional democracy, the full arrangement that we have of our political system, is endangered, it would appear to be endangered from the left, not from the right. But in the name of protecting democracy, what these generals are seemingly calling for is a kind of plan for the military to jump in and take over if there is, in fact, a dispute among the two parties or among the two sides. And this, I think, now these are retired generals. But they're people who have had an important role in the military, and I'm wondering if they speak for an increasingly corrupted and woke military, a military whose corruption began under Obama, going all the way back to 2012. The idea that you take these police agencies and you take the military and you begin to make it partisan. This is kind of a socialist recipe. Make the police agencies of government do the bidding of the left, so that when the left controls the state, they're able to deploy these agencies in a partisan manner. And so I think that it is of the greatest importance for Republicans to be keeping a very close eye on the military. And if a purge of the Trumpsters and the Patriots is underway, there needs to be a remaking of the military as power changes hands. Of course, what these generals are trying to do is prevent power from changing hands at all. That's why they have the built-in assumption that the Trumpian candidate is going to lose. But all of this, I think, is a sign of the kind of thinking that we're beginning to see on the left, in which even something like a military coup becomes defensible in the name, paradoxically enough, of protecting democracy.